How much should you be spending each month on your housing budget? Not only that, but why? Let's take a look at the average monthly breakdown that's recommended and see what works for you. A lot of people's greatest concern for when they do finally jump into home ownership is how much they're going to be able to afford each month. How can you ensure a smooth transition with your finances? What are the general guidelines for how much you should be saving? And how much should you spend? Typically, we look at the cost of living based on each category of expense. Today, we're going to look at housing, transportation, food, utilities, personal spend like entertainment, clothing, memberships, savings, and debt repayment. To give you guys an example, this is what most financial experts will recommend to you. Broken down, you should be spending about 35% on housing, 15% on transportation, 15% on food, 5% on utilities, 10% on personal spend, 10% on savings, and 10% on debt repayment. Now, of course, these percentages vary. Maybe you only spend 30% on housing and 20% on transportation. Maybe you don't have any debt to repay other than your mortgage. It's easy to manipulate these numbers to work for you. All you have to do is calculate and move some numbers around a few times when you can finally find a way that your money will work for your lifestyle and your budget. These recommended percentages are usually for someone who's on a very strict budget. As long as you aren't living above your means and you're saving enough money, you can kind of wiggle around these numbers as much as you need to. But to actually put these numbers to use, you have to budget, and here's how you can do that. Step 1, you want to determine the goal of the budget. Do you want to save more and spend less? Do you want to stop living paycheck to paycheck and find a little buffer room in your budget? These are questions you have to ask yourself. Step 2, look at your current spending habits. What do you typically spend each month on food, discretionary spending, housing? These things are important, and it's a really good idea to look at your numbers so you have a better financial understanding of what you do with your money. Step 3, add up all of your income. You need to be aware of how much money you have coming in after tax. If you live on a roller coaster income where your money fluctuates each month, try to do your best to find an average. Step 4, determine your financial goals. Now that we know why we're budgeting, what are we budgeting for? What is your current financial goal? Since we just moved into a new home, perhaps we're trying to build an emergency fund. Step 5, decide how much to save. If you want to save up a $10,000 emergency fund, you need to determine how long it will take you, how much you can afford to save each month, and how you're going to save that money, whether it be automating that or keeping any spare change from purchases that you make. Step 6, determine which budget is best for you. There are a ton of budgets out there, but not all of them are going to be a good fit for you. There's a zero-based budget where all of the money that you have coming in is accounted for and there's nothing left over at the end of the month. Or there's a cash-based diet where you put money into envelopes every month, and once you've spent that money on each category, there's nothing left over. Either way, it might take trying a few different types before you find the one that really fits with your life. Step 7, decide what budgeting tool you want to use. You might want to use an app, you might want to go the more traditional route and print off a budget, or maybe you want to use an Excel spreadsheet. It doesn't matter as long as it's something that you're actually going to use and put in practice. Finally, step 8. Put the budget to work. Give this budget a try for a couple of months. Check in with yourself every month to make sure that you're on track. And if you don't like how things are looking, it's okay to readjust. That's why you do those check-ins. One of the toughest parts of buying your first home is ensuring that your financial situation is sorted so that you can actually enjoy your new digs. You want to be sure that before you do buy a home, that your budget and your financial life aren't going to be stressed because you are overpaying for a mortgage or you have really high utility bills. These are all numbers that you can test before you actually make the transition to home ownership. Give yourself kind of a trial run where you test out that budget to see if you can actually afford that lifestyle. Thanks so much for watching today's video. If you are on the hunt for a new home, please head to Zolo.ca or download our app to scroll through all of our listings and find maybe your dream home. You can also head to Zolo.ca/news to get all the Canadian housing market news that you need. And if you like learning about your household budget, you can give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, turn on the bell notification so you're notified every single time we post. And you can follow us on Twitter at Zolo Canada so you can engage with us and have great combos. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day. Bye!